Next on the miscellaneous, we have a proposition to rezone part of Route 5 to commercial. This is on the north side, starting with the property across from Gary Churchill. There's a fence row there with the fire department property on this side of it. And let's see.
Yeah, you're right in that right area, Bob.
Yeah,
Go to your
there's
right.
the town
Yep.
right there. Now we go down to here, where I've got my thumb, and that's right across from Gary Churchill's house. The idea is to fill in the blanks up to here, and then have a continuous commercial zone from the end of the,
Is that every part?
no, it's further, this is Hamlet here, all this is in orange. So we'd start right here. That's Bill Doherty's house there, there's the park. So that's where it would start, and that's the suggestion.
There's a 6-acre field in there that's vacant right now. And that fella's interested in not knowing he's gonna be able to do with it, changing it. Then you run into the Schofield property. What's the next one there?
Squires?
Yeah, Squires is, I haven't talked to Dick, I'll be honest, I haven't talked to Dick about what he thinks about it, but any of that land that we're looking at in there, it's very, very shallow. It's really not feasible for building houses on or something like that. I mean, anybody that knows that property up through there, it just seems like it'd be the logical thing if you're gonna do that, to go up and tie it into where it comes back the other way. And I just think it would be, it gives those people the option. Part of it's brought up by the fact that Finger Lakes is a warehouse, and they're having a hard time of moving it, selling it as far as just a warehouse, where there's some interest in it from the gentleman across the street that wants to, the Adams has come to me about that property. He's interested in buying it, but he can't do what he'd like to do there as far as moving his truck business. He can move the truck business there, but he also would like to put in a service so that he could service trucks in there, his own or whoever's, and he can't at present do that. And that, everything we're looking at is in the smart growth area.
I'd certainly like to hear from the residents of.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, but you gotta start somewhere, and that's the thing is to bring it to you, because I think it has to be generated by
Yeah.
the board.
Start here, and then again it goes to the planning board, and of course it'll be, before
Oh,
that ever
it's gonna be.
There'll be public hearings.
Yep, yep.
Where the public can weigh in on doing it or not doing it.
Was that in the smart growth plan
Yes,
to begin with?
it's all in the smart
So it's
growth.
already in there?
Comprehensive plan.
It's already in the smart
Comprehensive,
growth.
Yeah.
This red dotted
Comprehensive,
line
yeah.
here
Right.
is the smart growth area.
Okay, so that was done a long time ago.
Yeah. Well, before the water line came.
Like 10, 12 years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I thought.
We probably should identify the landowners there.
Oh, yeah,
and
I agree with Ron, yeah.
send something
absolutely.
out.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, you'll have to eventually, and that's what we have talked about it. Somebody's got to take the initiative, go out and see these people and see what the reactions are to it. You know.
Both sides of that would all have to be individually notified, anything within 500
Right.
feet anyway, so, by mail.
Would there be a frontage or by the parcel?
I think you're better off doing it by the parcel, because when you start cutting those parcels in half,
Yeah.
it's up to you guys, but that's,
That's right.
it gets kinda sticky.
Well, the lot depths vary through here.
So at this time, how many people have requested this extension of the rezone?
That's pretty much come from us, that rather than do a little bit here and a little bit there.
That's
that
spot
makes
zoning.
Spot zoning,
They
which,
really don't like that at all.
so you do have commercial uses in there now, but it isn't designated as a commercial zone.
Well, they're all special use permits, or how did we end up getting?
The one
The
there
mix.
for the, it's a special use permit for the, Finger Lakes buildings there, that's a special, I believe Bruce, yours is a special use
Yes.
permit right now.
The TV guy, DuPont.
What's that?
DuPont, he's special
commercial.
use.
DuPont, I think he's already in, isn't he? Or isn't he, Bob?
Or is that just
Well,
Ron?
there's Richenberg there.
That's Richenberg. Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
DuPont's
yeah,
beyond
yeah,
that.
Yeah, he's right in there,
Yeah,
The last
he
one?
might be in it.
He's a,
yeah.
Yeah, the one I was thinking of is the houses right by where Finger Lakes are. You put a truck repair business, they'll change the atmosphere of that whole area.
Is part of the motivation to help sell, help this gentleman that's trying to get rid of the Finger Lakes?
Well, that,
to
you could say
aid
that, you could say that's part of it, but on the other hand, if it can't be done, then he's just not gonna buy it. Period. I mean, so you're gonna have
So
another
you're saying
warehouse sitting
they only
doing
have-
nothing in the town.
Does your comprehensive plan say that that whole strip there should have been commercial to begin with? I don't know, I've never seen the comprehensive plan.
That's what I heard from the planning board, they said it was, that's in the comprehensive plan that.
I mean, I'm not trying to cram somebody down their throat. And this Scott Adams has said that he would be willing to take and go and see these people around there too. And I guess he's already talked to some of them, but I agree with Ron that something needs to be, you know, more informative to how they feel about it.
So at this time, you're talking about Finger Lakes, the people that are trying to sell, and then you're talking about Scott Adams also?
Well, no, that Finger, yeah, well, he's the one that wants to move into there.
Mhm.
Scott does.
So is that part of the impetus of this relook at the rezone?
Yeah. He's ready to move into it, but he says, I can't. He says, I can't take the chance of buying it and then not be able to do what I want to do in there, which I understand. I mean, you know, it's quite a nice layout there of property. And
So really, you're concerned with the one Finger Lakes?
well,
For
and
now.
then back this other way here, we take in where Bruce's property is, and then the other parcel back this way from that, there's another 6 acres in there.
You create other opportunities.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It would, you know, we need to be looking at something.
Well, no,
I'm saying, look, and I'm not saying, I'm not here to push it. I'm just,
another
Been
way
brought
to
to
look
my
at it
attention.
is that you get these special use these special use permits, and they tend to change the, what the makeup of the land is there, when you start stacking them up next to each other. So, it's one of the things you gotta be careful about by issuing special use permits.
well, that, yeah, you wouldn't have, if you change it to a commercial, then you're not getting your special use permits, because then they're okayed in the commercial zoning.
All right, the Finger Lakes property, that was never a residence, that was the old drive-in, right?
That's right.
And what was it zoned when it was the drive-in, or was that prior to zoning?
Oh, that was going way back. Yeah, I don't know, Ron. I just know I looked up what it was and what it could be used for now, and
zone it wherever you want.
That was one of the first drive-ins.
what's that?
That was one of the first drive-ins.
Yes, it was, yeah.
They built the screen out of an old barn that stood there.
That was certainly commercial retail.
Yeah.
Most of the houses went in while that was still there, but.
Well, there's one house that's an antique house, it's the broken salt box. That that's probably 1850. I mean, that was there before the drive-in, that was there before any commercialism. And I think there are a couple of others along there that are quite old.
Well, the barn that was on the property, that property that you speak of, that's when they tore down the little screen for the drive-in. And it blew down and then they had to rebuild it.
I just want to say one thing about it. It feels like you're going to bat for a person, a couple of people in our town for their benefit. And I don't know how fair that seems to everybody else, but I think it's an interesting fact.
That's why you notify everybody and have the public hearings, so everybody comes in and says what they think.
Yeah, this isn't gonna happen overnight. It's not gonna happen here.
No.
I mean, again, along with the moratorium, we would also send this idea on to the planning board.
Right. I mean, but it has to start with
Yeah,
town
it
board.
starts with us here.
That's all. Well, that's a long ways off. It's not nothing that's gonna.
Yes.
I would think as a taxpayer, I just got hit with my tax bill and I've got the $288,000 assessed from the fire department. The more you bring into this town, the more it's gonna get spread out that cost instead of all us taxpayers bearing the burden of it. So the more we can, growth has gotta come someplace. Why not put it there?
So to be perfectly clear, growth went away with Finger Lakes, is that correct? Finger Lakes isn't there any longer.
They still own it.
They still
well,
own
no,
it,
The
but they
Brisky the Brisky family owns it. The Finger Lakes has been sold off.
Right.
They're
That-
leasing the building
That business
right
is
now.
not there any longer, is what
What's
I'm
that?
saying. The business is not there any
Right.
longer. So
The
we've
bu-
lost a business.
Right. And the building is under a lease, and I think there's 2 more years on that lease. And Finger Lakes has got to pay him for that 2 years. The Brisky family wants to sell it, and they come to a.
It just seems like it's very specific to this situation.
Well, he's had it advertised, and
No, this always begs the question.
Well, yeah, I
A
know.
special use permit is for
It's transferable.
the use
no, it isn't
or
transferable. It stays with the property.
Right, but I mean from owner to
Yeah.
owner.
Yeah, once you give a special use permit, it stays with that property.
within the scope of that special use.
Yes.
Yep.
What
Yep.
this purchaser wants to do is not allowed by special use permit or zoning.
If we go to our zoning book, he's not allowed to do it under the AR district, and then he's also not allowed to do it under the special use permit because it's not specified in the special use permits to be able to be used for that.
It
The
has to
other
be,
option would
it has to
be,
be commercial in order to be able to do what he
Well, yeah, but somebody's gonna nail me here in a minute. I can't say that. I'm taking sides they tell me.
Well, just facts are facts.
the only other option would be a use permit, which is almost impossible. You have to
Well, anyway,
certify all-
Anyhow, yeah.
This will be open for discussion, I'm sure, at the planning board meetings and wherever else.
What if you look at doing, because you have industrial on the south side, and that's would be kind of contiguous if you put it industrial. You know, then it's not, just I'm throwing it out there.
Yes.
What happened to the tax, I mean, presumably the houses there are agricultural, residential. If it's rezoned as something else, do they become commercial houses and taxed more, or is it sort of only if they?
A grandfather.
I can't imagine that the tax,
Well, we run into that, if you look on the other end of that there too, that got changed over, that wasn't that many years ago, that got changed to commercial on that north side from up, them houses up through there, from where Cole Antonio's building was, a Ford dealer. Because the one gentleman come in complaining about it, he said, well, what's it gonna do to me? And then after he heard how everything was, he had no problem with it, but, that works for the, he worked for Time Warner there. Yeah.
well, if there's If there's a, like I say, we're kind of at the end of our road here tonight,
Right.
but we can have a motion to send this idea on to the planning board to rezone the aforementioned strip west of the hamlet, starting at the end of the hamlet and continuing on up to
So it would
the,
go to the planning board and then they would study it
yeah,
and make a recommendation back to the town board, and then it would start a local law.
yeah. Public hearings.
It's a lot of legwork to be done before anything else to happen to us.
This is just an idea right now, so,
They make a recommendation to the town board actually holds a public hearing.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Is there a motion to do this?
I would rather see more feedback from the entire group before we kick it off. I'd like to see a letter go out. This has been what's been suggested. We want feedback on it.
That sounds like a public hearing to me.
Yeah, that's,
Which we will have, and all of the residences before anything happens will be, but I'd like to at least move this on to the planning. They're not gonna make any decisions, they gotta come back here.
The thing about a public hearing is that you usually make a decision right after the public hearing. So once you hear the, you probably would move on to your vote.
You don't have to.
So you don't have to, that's right.
Not always.
Not necessarily. But I would like to have the planning board's feedback on this, and they won't get it unless we send it to them. I mean, they'll hear about it, obviously.
Sure.
I think they had talked about it.
Formally, we should,
I think they had talked about it
yeah,
briefly.
but I mean, in order for it to come to pass, we've gotta start it and send it to them.
I make a motion, we send it to the planning board.
I second it.
Motion by Councilman Pacer, second by Councilman Mullen, that we send the commercial rezone idea on Route 5 to the planning board.
You can send it out.
That's not so.
And they can check and see if it fits with our comprehensive plan.
It might die right there.
It might.
What else has got in that corner where he is?
If planning board shoots it down, is it a dead issue then?
Might be.
Okay.
You can also get a petition from the folks in the district directly to the town board to do it, which would lead to the same process.
Roll call, Mattice,
No.
Panic,
No.
Mullen,
Yes.
Pacer? Yes. Clement,
Yes.
3-2.